this generator going. This is a little Ryobi 1100 watt generator that I brought off Facebook Marketplace. It's supposed to be a running unit, not so much. So I gave it a couple of pulls over when I brought it and it didn't start. I figured, oh, it's probably just a bit of junk in the carby or something like that. A little bit of a service, and you know, they're pretty basic, pretty easy to get going. And I did that. First thing I did when I got home is I opened the petrol tank up and it stunk of varnish. It was absolutely terrible. Thing wouldn't run for love or money. So what I'm thinking has happened is that it sat for a long time, the fuel and the carbies turned to junk, gummed everything up and it wouldn't work. So I took the easy way out, $19 later, new carby, perfect. Thing starts up, no problem at all. Then I discovered why it was parked in the first place. It's not putting out enough power. So this unit should be putting out 240 volts AC. It's putting out, I think, somewhere around about 120 volts. So I'm guessing what's happened is old mate that had it before me had a problem with it not putting out the right amount of power, didn't know how to fix it, or didn't want to spend money to pay somebody to fix it. So he's just parked it up for God knows how long. Eventually the fuels turned to rubbish, gummed it up and it wouldn't start, which is where I came into the picture. So I've got it running, works well for what it is. It's only a little 87cc engine according to the thing. As I said, I paid $19 for a new carby on Ryobi. It even come with a sweet little fuel filter, which the original model never has. Got that running, and then I discovered it's not putting out any power, or more accurately, enough power. It's doing a bit, but it wasn't doing enough. So I did a little bit of research on the internet. Found out that there's a trim pot inside the voltage regulator that you can adjust a little bit to correct that issue. Unfortunately I tried that trick and it made no difference whatsoever, so the next assumption is the voltage regulator is bad. Back to Ryobi, another $16 later, and I've got a new voltage regulator. So that's what we're doing today. We're putting the voltage regulator in. It's pretty quick, pretty simple, and any idiot like me can do it. So I'll bring you in here and show you what it's doing. I've got to turn the on-off switch around too. I was playing with that to check everything, all the connections and stuff when it wouldn't originally run. And when I popped it back in, I put the switch in upside down. So if you notice, I'm turning it to off to make it run. That's the reason why. So I will fix that later. Alright, here we go. Alright, so I'll get it fired up. I'll switch it to the off position. Give it a little bit of choke because it seems to like a little bit of choke. There we go. I'll bring you in nice and close. I know it's noisy. See there, sorry about my handy camera work, but that's as good as you're going to get from me. It's putting out about 120 volts. So first step we're going to do is going to rip this side cover off, pull out the offending article and swap it over. It's pretty much just plug and play, and we'll get into that now as soon as I can find some tools. Alright, we'll get you in here nice and close so you can see what I'm doing. It's a pretty quick and easy job this. And I'll be disappointed if it doesn't solve the problem, but we'll figure it out. Really, if this is not going to solve the problem now, then I suspect that it's probably dead in the water, short of getting it reground. So I'll just, there we go, 8mm. Yeah, sorry, getting it rewound and doing all sorts of expensive stuff. I paid, I think, $150 for it. So I'm not into it very deep. My original plan was, you know, a cheap generator, give it a little bit of a service and maybe flip it and make $50. I should have Should have been the first warning that it was too cheap, although really I think 150 bucks, it wasn't actually that cheap. Considering I brought the big brother of this one to go with my caravan, and I paid about $400 for it brand new, and it's quite a number of years older, or younger now, as the case may be. But anyway, so here we are, in the side here, this black thing is our voltage regulator. That's about as close in as I'm going to get you. Once again, very quick, very simple. Couple of screws to undo, and it's pretty much just plug and play. As you can see, they're very finger tight because I've been in here before trying to figure out what was going on. Make sure I put the right screws back in the right place. That's always a good trick. And I'll give these a little bit of a nip down once we're done. Alright, so voltage regulator pops out. She's got a 4-pin connection down the bottom here. And that will unplug. Although it probably needs me, it needs me to cut that cable tie. There we go. I didn't get too carried away with this earlier once I figured out what the problem was. There we go. And we have a positive negative connection onto the armature that goes to the generator windings itself. Here's our cheap Evil Bay special. See, Evil Bay, that's Chinese for Evil Bay. Get her out, have a look. Now I had a look at this on the internet and decided it looked close enough to the right thing for replacement. Worst case scenario, I can go and buy a genuine Ryobi one if this doesn't do the job. Unlike the original, this one's been wired up with whatever colour they had at the Chinese factory, but they did at least put a positive mark on there for us so we know which side's positive and which side's negative. So we'll undo that one first. We'll plug him on. Whoop. I like doing one at a time if I can, that way I'm less likely to botch it and get the connections wrong. Sometimes that's not always possible, and in those circumstances I like to take photos because then I know that I can put it back together with a fair degree of certainty for the way that it came apart. And we're just going to have to take it on faith that the 4-pin wiring is correct. It does tell me on the Evil Bay store that it's universal replacement. So we'll see how true that is. The first thing I noticed is that, oh, that one lines up. It kind of lines up with the mounting holes, it kind of doesn't. So I think we'll just have to finagle that in there a little bit. Near enough will be good enough. Well, not really, but you know what I mean. As long as we can get it in where it's not going to fall out and not going to contact any moving parts. And actually it does line up really well once you get one screw in. It actually fits perfectly where it's supposed to. Always a risk when you're buying no brand parts off of Evil Bay. That's a good snug down for those. Tuck that back in there. I'm not going to worry about another cable tie. It doesn't really need it. So that should be as hard as this whole job gets. So I'll take the old one, put it away for the moment. I'm not going to toss it until I'm confident that we've solved the problem. I'll put this back on the way it came off, which means I'm looking for the wear mark at the top in the dirt where this rubber grommet was rubbing on everything, because I didn't pay much attention and look at which way the vents were facing, although I'm working on the assumption that they need to face down to stop anything getting inside the engine. That would be the logical course of action. Whether that's the case or not, anybody's guess. Alright, that's got that on. Right, here we go. Should be a quick and easy fix. That is as hard as this job should be if it works. Alright, so put our tools back in here. Out of the way, I'll reposition you, see if we can't get this thing started and see if we solve our problem. Righto, so here we go. We'll put that on the off position. Yes, I will fix it. Probably not. Here we go. Oh, look at that. Perfect. There we go. We'll turn that off. We'll zoom that back out. Oh, wrong way, stupid. I never claim to be good at this. Alright, there you go. We'll just move you back a little bit. Right, so, all up, I think I'm into this thing for probably about 180 bucks. Which is not too bad, really. Even if I don't sell it, I might be able to use it. I've got the other one, the bigger one there, which works absolutely brilliantly, even though they are Ryobi, and everybody carries on about Ryobi being junk, but I've got Ryobi power tools all around the place, been using them for years, never had a problem with them. So, yes, they're a hobby type machine, hobby grade tools, but that's alright. I'm a hobbyist, so that works perfectly for me. So there you go, there is our Ryobi 1100 watt generator, restored to perfect working order for what was conservatively a $35 something cent investment, and all up probably about an hour and a half worth of my time in the original diagnosis and work and just getting it all done. The biggest part is the project's taken me probably about a month to do once I got started on it, because I was waiting on parts. But anyway, there you go. Something nice and technical like a generator that wasn't working, now does work. All for a little bit of effort, a little bit of YouTube, a little bit of Googling research. Anybody can do this stuff. I'm no rocket scientist. Anybody that knows me will confirm that. But that's it. Alright, thank you very much. Hopefully we'll see you again.